Actually, Howard, did you send me something, Howard, other than the planning packets?
I'm lowercase
All
too.
I got was the planning packets from you.
Okay. All
The
right,
only thing I got
everyone.
from you was the
We are
planning
on,
packets. Did you send something else?
and I'm going to start the meeting.
Here's Bob.
So I would like to welcome and open the Georgetown Planning Board June 10th, 2015 hearing, Town Hall, third floor conference room, 7 o'clock. Start with approval of minutes
Minutes of May 13th.
of May 13th.
I'll make a motion to approve May 13th minutes.
Second.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Motion's been made to approve and second the minutes of May 13th, 2015. Any discussion? Anybody have any discussion? Because I do, unfortunately. But, so, let's see. Again. I think I just wanted to comment in general that it seems like the minutes are going back to a sense of transcripts versus just just the items that were discussed, not what everyone said. And for example, on page 1 of 14, items 13 and 14, those are not necessary. I would just delete those. The item 23, 24, the notion of, Howard saying this is what we received, this is a good example of, it just might read correspondence received versus, text of what someone said. And it's just it's a general comment throughout. On page 2 of 14, number 30, H. Snyder, vouchers for general office at 8050, invoice for BSC. I think 30 and 31 can just be scratched. I don't think that information is necessary for meeting minutes. It's part of when we get to vouchers, it's talked about. And then there are a couple of items of just consistency in the way they're written in terms of graphics. On page 2 of 14, item 38, discussion of BSC group turning leaf. I think in other cases that's bold, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, it's a
So it's just, it's just a formatting thing. But consistency on the title heads like that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
If that was the 2.5-hour meeting, how many pages was that? I was struggling.
Understand.
To summarize, because it actually, I'd rather have it shorter. It's
Yep.
very hard to do the word for word like a court transcript, and I want to find a happy medium.
right. And I think, and the board jump in, I think the board was in agreement that we were trying to get away from the transcript notion, because the transcript would be considered, you'd go to the tape
Yeah.
if you're looking for that kind of information. So, on the discussion on the BSC group for turning leaf, so there's items 40 through 84, 85, 86 on page 30. So that's one subject. And, the whole, that all of that could be summed up, instead of what everybody said, it could be summed up by saying the planning board discussed this, motion was made, was seconded, vote was taken. And all the rest of that, I don't think is needed. So,
I was on the Finance and Advisory Committee because I did the meetings for them.
Yep.
And they preferred to just, X was discussed.
yeah,
And here was the outcome.
Yep.
And if it was an important fact in the discussion, just one line of it.
yeah,
But I could have had 5 pages on the discussion, but they just, then they refer to tape, so that helps them
Right.
to know that
Yep.
this can be summarized like that.
And if there's an item that a board member is going on record as saying, it's really up to the board member to say, for the record, I would like it to show that I do.
Okay.
And those things get picked up, but,
Okay.
I'll review more with you person to person for the next meeting.
yeah, so,
I did want to just mention that in our discussions earlier, months and more ago, about making it more concise, it's not an easy thing to do. We
No.
totally recognize that figuring out what's superfluous and what's essential. I'm sure that working with Howard, you'll get a,
Okay. Well, I'll just count on you to tell me if something's left out. That would be easier for me, that you would say, could you please insert this, like, kind of like Tilly did the last time, because I think that's what happened is I summarized that part,
Yeah.
and then her important didn't get in.
Yeah.
So if you can let me know an important comment was missed, but I'll summarize the best I can.
yep, so
Andrea and I definitely discussed the need or the opinion that there be a little bit greater detail in the informal hearing for the OSRD, just because it was
Sure,
informal
yeah,
and it was
Understand.
a very important
understand.
part of the discussion. But even
Yep.
that is a little.
But even that, I think you could,
short
in general, yeah. So specifically now, so in general, that's across the board. If you go to page 14, item 84, 85, it says, on 85, it says, motion carries 4-0, 1 absent. I don't see the motion as being made, and I don't see what the motion was,
an 80.
unless I missed it.
What,
It was actually the motion to approve the vouchers. 35 and 36 is the motion, and then the vote is
Motion to-
on 85.
Okay,
so 38 to 83 is the discussion.
But that's something
Right.
I could summarize in the future. It could say, discussion.
Sure.
And then motion, vote all together in clear.
okay. 87, line 87, I think, again,
That's a format.
consistency formatting issue, yep. I think, so I think that was it for the meeting minutes for me.
Not having you turned it was neat.
Uh-huh.
I knew everything that went on.
Yeah.
It was so thorough.
Yeah.
But that, and it is good for that, and I get that, but if we do it that way, then you end up with transcripts, and
Right.
that's
Sure.
not what meeting minutes are meant for. It's time consuming, there are other things to do, absolutely, absolutely. On page 9 of 14, Howard, 10 of 14, the last items, 289 and 321. I don't know if it's on everyone's page or whatnot, they're just kind of skating off to the page. Looks like it was just,
Floated.
Something with it,
yeah.
yeah.
Page 11 and 14, 322 is a formatting issue. On 407, member or public report. I think instead of saying any other concern, which is a reiteration of the agenda, it would be better to say no concern of planning board member or of the public was expressed. Okay, so that was that from my minutes. Any other discussion?
We received just a couple of comments from Harry just having to do with spelling.
Yep. Okay, so, how about, are you comfortable with those changes, you
Yeah.
coordinating, and then we'll
Shorten
so
it down a
approve
bit.
it with those changes?
Yep.
Okay, so, motion was made to approve, with changes noted. Seeing no more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One abstain.
One abstain, and, one not here. Okay. Correspondence, anything you wanna talk about in correspondence, Harry?
Under correspondence, you received from H.L. Graham Associates their technical review report number 1 for Noonan site plan. We've got a public hearing on that later in the meeting. I included in the packet some email correspondence from an abutter to Turning Leaf, concerns about the construction operations of Turning Leaf. And then I provided, after that, a response from Artisan Building Group, the developer for Turning Leaf, showing how they're addressing the concerns of that abutter. I also included, under correspondence, 2 items from BSC Group, a report through May, so they're current to the end of May on any field inspection. You've got a copy of that. And also that during their last site walk, as requested from the planning office, I just asked, would you please just make particular note of the concerns of this abutter, because I believe they were relevant to the subdivision as a whole, such as the roadway alignment, installation of the stormwater and silt fencing and things like that. So those are all included under correspondence.
Is there any way to, on the package, on the part that is the, the inspection report and whatnot, is there any way, I mean, that's a ton of information and a lot of paper. Is there any way to summarize that you could give this to us in a way that, all I care, I'm only speaking for myself, all I care about is that everything's up to speed, this guy's on target, he's covered them all.
Sure. Right. I can ask Dave Varga just to provide a summary report.
Somehow.
Yeah, I'd rather he summarize it than me.
Yeah.
Executive
I
summary.
mean, I appreciate this is really valuable, but I know that I am not going to sit down and read all of his field reports. Nor is that my job, or our.
A cover
our-
letter or summary report to go along with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. And then if somebody has a question, we can ask for more information.
Are
So
you gonna
forgive me
discuss?
if I'm missing the point of your page number 12 of his letter. Isn't that what he does? In my professional opinion, the general construction work is proceeding in accordance with approved plans. Are you talking about something different than I'm talking about?
Right, that was his letter responding to the concerns specific to the butter.
Okay,
It's
but not
to this-
necessarily.
this
Okay.
package.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yep, nope, no problem. That's good.
Are you gonna talk about these letters
Yeah, well,
during the request?
yeah, when we get into member of public report, or we'll
Okay.
talk about that then, right now. So, was there anything else you wanted to
No,
add? on
none under correspondence.
Okay.
I
So-
noticed that on that one though, Mr. Chairman, you have the email, but then it's not here. You answered in the email. Julie is all I got.
Right, the other 3 emails that led up to that, I didn't believe were relevant. So I
Well,
just
all
wanted
of
to,
the emails, aren't they considered correspondence and public documents?
they're considered public documents, but I didn't think they were relevant.
Do you want those? Because if you want those, I mean, yeah.
I can certainly provide them, but it's just that was the topic at hand, was just the last email.
Okay, all right.
I'm all right. I don't need copies of that. I don't know do you guys need copies of those emails? It's up to you.
No.
All right. So on to vouchers. Have a motion from anybody on vouchers?
There's 2 vouchers being presented tonight.
One for $120.20, one for $452.20.
Correct. The $100.20 is for general office from Staples, and actually, the north of Boston is a total of
$452.
let me correct that. Gatehouse Media for $100 and north of Boston for $452.20. So the total of $552.40 is correct.
What I wonder about, well, before I get into discussion, have a motion to approve?
I move we approve pending discussion vouchers in the amount of $552.40, is that correct?
Yes.
Second.
A motion has been made to approve, and it's been seconded, the two vouchers in the total amount of $552.40. Discussion?
My only question is, what about the balance forward? What,
The balance forward, we're not paying. It's just, our amount is the 452.20. The balance forward is 622.82 is for a different town department.
Is there a way, because I had a similar question, is there a way that somehow we can get, do we have something in writing that says this board does not owe 622? If someone can't come after this, do you have something in writing?
I've spoken to the town administrator with the originating bill
Okay,
that has that 622.52 broken down, that we're not responsible.
who is responsible for that, do you know?
I think it was the Historic Commission who did an advertisement in the paper.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with that explanation.
And forgive me if I'm just falling
Have at
down.
it, man.
Not at all, not
Tell
at all.
me, and I'll shut up. But
Okay,
No
shut
such
up.
thing.
so on the bills
for it.
payable, it says general account 11751 Staples, and then Staples again. Was that just a typo?
That was a typo.
Okay, all right. So it's actually for the invoices that are listed, just not to Staples. That was just a
Right.
copy and paste kind of thing.
So and that was another question I had, so the bills payable, it would say Eagle Tribune or something like that?
Right, it would be Gatehouse Media north of Boston.
For-
The voucher itself is correct, it's
Cor-
just
yep.
the summary sheet
Yep.
was incorrect.
Okay. All right, those are my two questions also. Anyone else with any discussion, questions? Okay, seeing no more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous with one absent. Public hearing number 1, site plan approval, Noonan's at 269 Central Street, continued from May 27th. Do I have a motion to open the meeting, and then I'll go to you, Howard? Or go to you first and then open the meeting?
No, you'll open the public
Okay,
hearing.
so do I have a motion to open
So moved?
the, second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to open the continued public hearing for Noonan's at 269 Central Street, continued from May 27th. Howard?
We received a letter from the attorney that reads, due to information recently received by H.L. Graham Associates, Noonan's will be responding to, we request that the hearing schedule for June 10th be continued for 4 weeks or to the board's second meeting in July. Since the initial meeting with the board, the design engineer has conducted soil testing with the board's review consultant, has awaited Graham's review comments, which were received on June 8th. Applicant also met with Larry Graham and Peter Durkee, the highway surveyor, on May 18th to discuss the municipal storm drain on the property. Now that those comments have been received, the development team will be revising the plans, providing documentation to respond to Graham's comments, Durkee's comments, and the board's comments. So basically, they're getting input from the peer review, highway, and they just want to get all those incorporated into the next set before bringing those set back to the planning board.
Okay, so with that information, I guess we'd be looking for a motion to continue the hearing to what date?
Well, they have, because the 90 days will be up before the next planning board meeting or the day of the planning board meeting, they have submitted a Form H, so there needs to be a vote and approval on the extension of time to September 30th, and then you can set the date that the public hearing is going to be continued to.
I move that we accept Form H and extend the period for 90 days until September 30th. Is it?
Do I have a second?
Second.
So the motion has been made and it's been seconded to accept Form H in the date extension to September 30th. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk, that's for you to sign. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, unanimous with one absent. I suppose that's not unanimous, is it?
Of those present,
Those present.
Those present.
Okay, so, the continued date was going to be what?
I would suggest July 8th,
Motion to
the
continue
first
to
planning board
July.
meeting in July.
Okay.
question about this that I have just signed. The date is circled, but it's written over. And I can't make out what it says.
I think it says agreed.
Okay, fair enough. You wanna take a look at that?
So
That's
if,
the best I can make out of it.
I mean, August 1st, I don't know.
Didn't they ask for the second date in July?
That's an extension of time that the applicant has to be reviewed by the planning board.
The letter from the attorney, I'm sorry. Didn't that request the second week in July? The second meeting in July?
This is an extension of time to allow the applicant to be reviewed. The applicant's attorney requested just the next hearing date, 4 weeks
Okay.
from today.
There's-
So they're
I-
two different things.
There's a 90-day window that the business has to be taken care of.
I misunderstood what he had said from the letter.
all right,
I'll read that for you, Madam. Be continued for 4 weeks or to the board's second meeting in July. 4 weeks would be
A month from now.
the 8th.
Okay.
The second meeting in July seems a little too far.
Okay.
6 weeks. So.
okay, so looking for a motion to continue the, public hearing to July 8th.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion has been made and it's been seconded to continue the public hearing for Noonan's to July 8th. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 4 yes, 1 absent. All right,
Can I ask a question about Noonan's, or is it closed? We didn't close it yet, right?
well, we
We
just
just voted
continued
to-
it, we just did.
I thought you just proved, all right. I just wondered, my question would be, well, I can wait until
No, go
the
ahead.
members of
If-
public report. Well, Larry had a lot of questions, and I was just wondering if the planner had time to answer some of them when they pertain to what other permits they had, and he had a list of things. He wanted to see old permits, if there
Oh,
was
right, right.
granted or not. And anything in-house, I thought maybe, you know, you were able to do some research and
No,
so you
I haven't
could
done the
answer.
research yet. No.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, new business, Turning Leaf lot release.
Take one of the information packets and hand it out. I'm just handing this out for information for the board to review prior to the next meeting in June. It starts with an email received from the developer for Turning Leaf's legal counsel. They finished the base coat at Turning Leaf on the subdivision road. We did not receive the letter from Dave Varga. They had requested that this be placed on the agenda for this meeting, but we haven't received that letter from Dave Varga, so the board really isn't ready to act on any lot releases. Included in here is the recorded Form G, the Form J, and a copy of the recorded plan. In the next meeting, in the packet prior to the meeting, then this will be all discussed in greater detail once more information is collected from the site inspector engineer to let us know if the lots are ready to be released, which is all dependent upon the installation of municipal services
Right.
and the subdivision road to binder course, which is, that part's done, but we don't have a report stating everything else is complete.
Okay, but
That's pretty straightforward.
do we, well, according to the decision, we also added provide draft deed of parcel F to the planning board. Did we get that?
That was done a while ago.
It was finished.
Yeah, that was done before town meeting.
But it's not, they didn't register it, that's why I question it.
Right.
Just floating around?
No, the selectmen have it.
The selectmen have
Yeah,
it.
the planning board received it and then voted and passed it on to the selectmen.
Ball's in their court.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is, that's it for turning leaf discussion for now? Carry this to the next.
Right,
meeting?
and just as a informational on that, with the matter of the decision, the, Affordable Housing Task Force is bringing up the matter of the affordable housing unit, that Turning Leaf is proposing. So, at the Affordable Housing Trust meeting next Wednesday, they're gonna be talking about that, and then I'll be able to report that to the planning board, at the second meeting in June.
I have a question for you. Would it make more sense to take this that you just gave us and include it in our packets for the next planning board meeting
I would like you to review that,
before the packet?
before the packet and give me any feedback that you may have on it.
Okay.
And I will again provide it in the next packet, cause hopefully it'll be more complete with Dave Varga's, letter.
Is, to that, is there anything that you're looking for in specific or that you had questions about in this?
No,
It's
Tilly
kinda-
actually just brought up one of them, that would be
Yeah.
a typical comment from the review, that I looked at the decision and this also been satisfied.
Okay.
I want each planning board member to make sure that they're comfortable with releasing any lots, so.
Okay. All right.
If you need a copy of the recorded decision, then let me know, and I'll just send it on, by email and provide that in the packet as well.
Okay.
What are we going to get for, as far as, the utilities, completed? How do we get a special form for that, or?
That is, part of the partial release of lots or deposits. It's part of page 2 and 3, I believe, that there needs to be sign off by
Isn't that
the
Dave?
different town departments. And Dave will need to verify that the municipal utilities have been installed.
You know, I wasn't,
But there's,
so far I can't determine what Dave's writing, whether
yeah.
he
there-
did or
there's-
not.
There's on page 2 and page 3, there's sign-offs by the water department saying, yes, they've been installed, and there's even a utility card. I
Oh.
think it's a Form U or something like that,
Uh-huh.
that also needs to be signed off on.
Yeah. This is really my first subdivision at the beginning. We've been working on for 8 years, finishing up subdivisions.
Anything else on that, Howard? Move on to Park and Rec?
No, nothing else on the lot release. It just, I'll tie it back into correspondence. If you review that, just overall, Dave Varga's statement that it's proceeding as per plan, so.
Right. I mean, basically, I'm just waiting for him to come back with, I'm not aware of anything else. I'm waiting for him to come back with his, yep, these items have all been put in, and then the different town signing off on the different utilities, and it's good to go for me.
Right.
That's the Park and Recreation one?
No, that was still
Just
turning
Turning
leaf lot
Leaf,
release,
okay.
yeah. But speaking of Park and Rec, since you brought it up.
What's number 2?
And it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
What a miracle.
Back in early April, Rob, I believe you had made a specific request that the Park and Recreation Committee come in and just meet with the planning board and just, and present to the planning board to help facilitate what the planning board may be able to do and help the Park and Recreation Committee with their long-range plans. And they were scheduled to come in, but they said, we're not gonna come in because of the discussion of parcel F at town meeting. And then, so we rescheduled to today's date, and Park and Recreation is still not ready to come in and present either the Greenway or their long-range plans. So it's just a matter on the agenda. And when they inform the planning office that they're ready to come in, then I'll place it on the agenda.
So their intent is that, yes, they do wanna come in and present this?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So, how about, only because the planning office, we had some items, I'm gonna go to planning office and then we'll end on the member or public report agenda. Is there anything with regards to the contract and the technical assistance request and the Bailey Lane OSRD documents that were passed out to us? Does anything?
Well, my map is the annual contract that is paid to Merrimack Valley to maintain the my map that's used both internally and has become accessible to outside of town hall. And that contract will be presented to the board in the next fiscal year. But that is separate from what the next item on the agenda is from Merrimack Valley, and that's, I've done a local technical assistance request, which is basically 1 day of work with Merrimack Valley to update the zoning map to any, there's been zoning changes, but there hasn't been changes to actual zoning map. The overlay district for medical marijuana, even the Elm Street that was action of town meeting, that needs to be reflected. And also, that won't take long. We, in the planning office and the other land use departments, have what's called the EFS, or the electronic field study, and that is pictometry, and that allows us access to orthogonal aerial photographs of sites from 2012, 2010, 2008. It's been a helpful tool for in the past for me to be able to present those images to show what development has occurred in Georgetown and what was relevant to Georgetown in terms of an actual use on the site as recent as 2012. And we usually pay for the flyover every 2 years. But there has been a glitch in the GIS data sets that are part of the EFS, and it really just needs, Merrimack Valley that manages this needs to come in and just fix all the links on the server, and fix it in a way that when the IT company comes in and changes something on the server, we don't have this hiccup again. So
I get it, and I hate it.
they come in, they moved the servers over to new servers, they did some whole new mapping, and this is something that, I don't know.
broke it.
They either didn't
They
know
did
it
it
was
differently.
there, or they did it differently, thinking it worked from.
And they broke it.
Yeah. But it's gonna be more cost effective to have Merrimack Valley come in. And beyond that, if you recall, every year, we've got that, $2,000 that we pay to Merrimack Valley to be part of the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. And part of that's 32 hours of technical assistance, local being just to Georgetown, and we've got over 24 hours left. So
So this would come out of that?
this would come out of that. It's prepaid.
Okay.
So,
That was
and
my-
it's also something that if you don't use it, you lose it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
accrue on an annual basis, so.
Okay.
There was
That's
a
good.
question I had about it, the Merrimack Valley. I think I emailed them and I didn't get an answer yet, but maybe you know that. You know the report that was generated, every year they do a report. And I think we got it on the computer, we do send it, or they send an email to us. And there's a notation about it, an assistance to historical Georgetown streets, Pillsbury Street and Pond. And I don't recall, what was that about, do you know?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I don't remember
Hi-
signing off any
historical
LTA
street.
hours for that, and I don't remember us talking about that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it.
Thanks.
That just brings up an interesting discussion of there's only one historic street in Georgetown. I mean,
Elm
there
Street.
could be idea of later
Yeah.
on of having other streets added to that.
Sure.
What is that street?
Elm?
Elm Street.
Is that right?
I
Elm?
believe it's just Elm.
Yeah, it's just how, so far,
The
they've been,
oldest street in town.
working on it for a while. I don't know what their
West
progress is.
Street itself is an old street.
West Street's an old street.
Or that,
It's not as old as Elm.
well, that's okay. It's not a competition.
The street that I live on, Chestnut, is off of Elm.
Oh, You're famous.
And it's a dead-end street.
Right. But it's worth
Okay.
And the last remaining item on planning office is just, all the documents presented at the last meeting, the 3 exhibits that were given from the applicant for Bailey Lane, OSRD to the planning board, I provided to the board in electronic format and hard copy format.
Okay, so, before we get into discussion of member or public reports, any concerns, what if on the agenda, members or public report was put at the end and have planning office jump ahead of that? The reason being is that with the planning office, it seems as if there's usually something that's associated with it as part of the packet. And members or public reports, it's always a question, and it's a nice way to end, it's like a blank in the agenda. So,
Is that instead of the report that you've been doing? But I noticed this one, you didn't, comments, didn't
No.
comment?
No.
Planner comments weren't
yeah,
in
that's,
still gonna do
that's,
that.
that's different.
Okay.
This is just,
You just wanna move it
just
to the end of
switch-
the meeting.
Just put it to the end of the meeting.
I see that as mostly administrative, because
Yeah.
we move these
That's all it is.
events around depending on who's come, what it is that we're
We have
talking
that,
about.
yeah.
But I
Right.
mean, just,
Yeah,
I like the idea. I like the
Mm.
idea.
okay. So with that, the last item tonight is member or public report. Any other concerns of planning board members or
Well,
members of the public? Anybody out there like to speak? Okay, I guess not. Tilly?
oh, I had one question. This is a short one, but I've got another one. This spot, when is that tree gonna get planted?
I've talked to the owner operator, and on and off we were trading emails. He's been busy, and right now we are scheduled to go out tomorrow at about 1:30 with Peter Durkee just to outline where this tree is going to go, and bring the recorded site plan. Say this is the tree. This is where it's going to go.
You know,
Right.
I thought there were 2 trees as part of the plan.
There are 2 trees. I think one's existing though.
It's
I'll
gone.
double check that.
Okay.
I haven't seen that site plan in a while.
Yeah, okay.
See you tomorrow.
I think there's supposed to be 2 new trees.
Okay.
That's, and picking up on that subject, are you familiar with structural soil and
Yeah.
planting? I don't know who would pay for that, but, you know, it would allow us to get a even bigger, root medium, you know, that Peter could then pave back over some of the sidewalk,
Yeah.
but, you know, get as big an open pit as possible, but
Are you talking?
it's also you can get it now already made. You don't have to spec it and make it anymore.
Is this the same thing as manufactured soil?
I don't think so. The
We were talking about it at the
I think
school
so.
building committee.
yeah,
They're purchasing loom
yeah.
and it's manufactured.
No, this isn't that. This is a structural soil is pretty much what it says it is. It's soil that allows roots to grow in it, but it's also structural, so it supports the weight of walks on top of it and pedestrian movement and small vehicles and things like that. So you can actually get some medium for the roots to grow in, even though you can't see it.
That's amazing. Well, the other question I had was, are we going to respond to the correspondence? I think that, for a resident, that I think that she deserves an answer.
She was
Julie, whatever.
Julie McNally.
This is part of the correspondence, right?
In an analysis of the letter, I think she's requesting it to be in the record, so I don't know if you have to read it in the record. That's what she was asking for at the end.
Her email has been placed in the permanent file.
Mhm. But I think she's referring to, let me see.
Which email are you talking about?
I'm,
I only have one.
I've got, Thursday, May 28th.
Okay, yeah.
She's got a lot of bullets here. And then she's not putting the planning board in a very good frame. And it really reflects poorly on us. So that's why I think we've got to see if we can come up with some answers that she's wanting.
Well, maybe-
her answers, Tilly, were provided in Dave Varga's letter, which is also in the packet, but not all of her concerns are relevant to the planning board or relevant to the responsibilities of the planning board site inspecting engineer.
Well, can you respond to her first paragraph there, where she was under the impression that because you had recommended Dave Argo's information, she assumed that this was the route to take? And you had told us at the previous meeting that she didn't get an okay to do that?
No, I didn't say it was okay for a private citizen to retain the use and services of the planning board's engineer. I didn't tell her that.
And I think I remember the board talking about that and agreeing with that is not, and that is the way that should be.
Yeah.
Resident.
I told her that the path, if she has a concern about the development, then she needs to send the planning office, and I'll distribute it to the planning board, their concerns, and that's what this is. So she voiced her concerns, and I said, well, your concerns are valid, but this is the path that it needs to go through in order for it to be properly addressed.
Tilly, if I might try to help a little bit with that.
Sure.
So there's her email, and then there's Dave Varga's letter, which is in response to
In response to my request, that
To your
when he does
request.
his regularly scheduled site inspection,
Yeah.
please just pay particular concern to these items.
Right.
Because we've received the concerns of an abutter.
So the board, the planning board, I don't think it should be seen in bad light. I think the planning board is actually doing a pretty good job. And so Howard passed that along, and Dave Varga responded to those questions in his response that everything is going, and I'm just paraphrasing now.
But did
That
you,
everything's going according to plan. And that the way he worded it, I thought is compliance of project, I think it's in the very end of it. In my professional opinion, the general this is on the last page of his 12-page document. In my professional opinion, the general construction work is proceeding in accordance with the approved plans. Specifically, compliance of project to accept plan in areas adjacent to 19 Lisa Lane. And in front of that is confirm, which was Howard's, confirm this please. And then location of road behind my property, grading of road behind my property, tree clearing of project, and construction vehicles located in cul-de-sac. And so he responded, 12 pages, photographs, the whole shebang.
did Julie get this? Or we got it?
Yeah, you got it. Tomorrow I'm forwarding it on to Julie.
So.
I just
so-
wanted the board to have a chance to review it and
So-
comment first.
So that's I think, good news there, proactive. And then I think the outstanding item, correct me if I'm wrong, Howard, is the blasting issue?
Right, the items of Julie's, again, Julie's concerns that she wrote in the email are valid, but not all of them can be addressed by the planning board. She had concerns regarding the process of the original vote. Well, that's been well discussed in the past. Concerns about the 20-foot easement changing to the 50-foot, I've responded that to her, because it didn't change. There was the change during the annual town meeting about parcel F. That's not Dave Varga's responsibility to respond to, so I did. And then in terms of the blasting, that's why I included Jackie Mercurio of Artisan, her response email to that. So there was of Julie's email, what I did was I split out all our concerns to what's relevant to the site inspecting engineer, the planning board, and the developer.
And that's already been gone. Is that the one that we didn't see?
The developer's representative is Jackie Mercurio of Artisan.
Did I understand you saying you answered her already, Julie?
Yes.
That's the copies that we don't have here in our packet, is a copy of what you sent.
Okay.
Is that
I
right?
I'll send them on to you.
I'm confused, I just got lost on that.
Tilly wants to see my response to Julie
Oh,
of
okay.
some of her concerns.
So that was why I was hoping that there would be a response.
But there,
Well, there needs to
But
be a
there
belief
is-
that the town planner is doing this, so.
I mean, but I,
Well,
I
yeah,
think,
but-
but Tilly.
Well, it's not yet, but Tilly, this
in
is-
okay, wait. In defense of Howard, although he shouldn't need any defense, I think the fact that Dave
Yes.
Varga has responded in a 12-page document based on the town planner requesting of him to do so
Mhm.
should be clear enough that he did what he was supposed to do.
But he hasn't done it yet, and
But
if
he-
I
but
didn't bring
he-
it up, I wouldn't even know that.
Nobody
Now, this
has.
is-
Here's the answer from Dave Varga. He already did it. We could
No.
not, Dave Varga's response could not have
He
happened.
just told me he didn't send it to Jill, so Jill didn't see that yet.
Well, talking about sending it to Julie, that's a
Julie,
different,
rather,
that's,
yeah.
well, that's different than what you were just talking about before that, though. Sending
No.
it to Julie.
No, I was
You can do
talking, no, what I was saying is Howard just said, he's answered Julie in an email. I didn't see that, and we didn't see what he answered. That's why I brought it up. I thought she deserved an answer.
And that you said earlier, correct. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So now he's going to send her, Dave Vargo's comments.
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
And then there were additional questions that she had that were not within Dave Vargas' purview that you've already addressed with her.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the blasting issue and the process that she needs to go through.
The blasting issue was addressed in Jackie Mercurio's.
Well, I've
Email.
got some comments about Jackie Mercurio's comments.
Okay.
Okay.
To begin with, I certainly didn't agree, and I didn't think this was the best thing of somebody trying to be a good neighbor developing next door. It would not be fair to the developer to take on the burden of residents' requests to double check our work and evaluate their property.
Where are you in this
That's the
letter?
last paragraph.
Yeah.
Second sentence. I didn't think that was a great comment. And the other comment is, she advised her to file a report with the fire department and contact Main Drilling, as she did do a pre-blast survey. And Julie agreed to do this. Now, I believe what should have transpired, and I've never experienced this, but what she should do is file a claim on her home insurance. That's what the advice should be. And then the insurance company in your home will not contact the developer or insurance or blasting insurance. They will transpire it and review it and make a determination. This is wrong. This is diverting and in a sense you got a person that's very upset, as you can imagine, and she thinks there's damage that she didn't create. And, by giving her this information, I think it's ridiculous. They got a nerve to do that, in my opinion. I did see the fire department, the fire chief at last night's meeting at the school building, and I asked him, what is the process about this? And he said that they're notified. They had a fire department person out there every day of the blasting. And he got all kinds of surveys and reports, which, he's not sure, he's not an engineer, how to read it, but he got all kinds of copies. And you know, they feel like the fire department has done their due diligence by being there. All of this blasting is under the purview, from what I found out on the research doing on the computer, of the fire marshal. He's the one who sets up the licenses and goes through an application process. And when I also checked with the Mass General Laws about it, and what I can cipher, not being an attorney, because there's a lot of laws pertaining to it, that if the homeowner can prove that that's damage due to blasting, that negligence is not an issue. That's it. Our state is so liberal that they don't have to prove anything else. If you can prove just that, doesn't matter if you did everything right on the QT, it was done because of the blast. And that's, you know,
But I think you've already answered this issue, is that she needs to get in touch with her homeowner's insurance company, and if there's a claim to make against the blasting company, then of course they're gonna try to subrogate their claim, and they're gonna go after whoever they
Right.
think is liable under that, for that damage, and if that happens to be the developer or someone else or whatever else,
right.
then let them take care of it. But I think Howard's point, and Howard, correct me if I misinterpreted you, but that's not necessarily a planning board issue, that's something that should be addressed by,
The,
very well,
the
should be addressed.
homeowner and the fire department and the developer. Planning board has no jurisdiction or enforcement on blasting.
No.
What we could do, though, we could do this to at least show Julie that, you know, even though she says, you know, she's concerned with lack of professionalism, you know, to show her that we care, that just have the town planner issue a memo to her saying, just reiterating, you know, what Matt just said. You know, this is what you need to do, it's not our jurisdiction, there's nothing we can do about it, we're not passing the buck, but this is what you need to do, and this is.
On those issues that are under our purview, here's Dave Varga's report.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
gonna follow what he says, because, you know, he's a professional and this is what he does.
Right.
On the following issues, these are not our purview, but this is the process you should take,
Yeah.
in our humble opinion, and, you know, wish you well, and these are serious issues, and we think they should be addressed, but we just wanna point you to the right person.
Hmm.
Right.
How's that sound?
That sounds
Is,
good.
is, I just, the only thing I'm not sure of is it appropriate for us to offer her advice as to what path she should take?
No, I wouldn't offer advice.
To go
It's
to
just
her
these are the-
insurance company, to go down that road. I kind of am a little leery of that.
Well, I think I think we probably have offered that advice.
If she's watching, then that's cool, but this is our discussion.
Yeah, no,
We're gonna take it.
I
Put it in writing.
I get, I don't know, I
She is a resident.
think the intent is all good, and.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Right, she's a resident, and, you know, she's gotta be a good neighbor, and she's gotta be considered.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not arguing that at all.
I wouldn't constitute that as being, you know, any, it's not advice in the nature of legal advice or anything like that, it's just, these are some of the other people that might be interested in the problems that you've raised.
Mm.
So that would be a great wrap up for that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I copied some quotes that came from different case laws. This one was a beauty. And I quoted it. Although blasting is a lawful and often beneficial activity, the cost shall fall on those who benefit from the blasting rather than on an unfortunate neighbor.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that will all work out to her satisfaction.
Mm.
I guess I would encourage, you know, anyone in the public that has these kinds of issues and concerns. I know they may not believe it, but the planning board, and I'm only speaking for this board, really is trying to do the right thing with neighbors and with the town and trying to find middle ground. I just wanna say that. I think the board does a really very good job with that, so anyways. So I guess that might be the last item. Unless anybody else wanted to bring up anything?
I move we adjourn.
Nice.
Second.
Second, it's been motioned, seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 yes, 1 absent, all right, thank you very much.
That was the